Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to take a closer look at Insurgency. I'm really loving this game so far, and I've put about 50 hours into it already, so hopefully this video will give you a better idea on what the game is all about. Now, I don't normally do reviews of games because no matter what I say, there's always inevitably someone who's going to disagree with me, and it gets a bit annoying reading negative comments. Just remember that this is only my opinion and that I don't have time to cover every last aspect of Insurgency, so if you agree or disagree with my points, feel free to let me know why, just don't be a dick about it. But anyway, Insurgency is basically a hardcore tactical FPS game for the PC and Mac, made by indie developer New World Interactive. It's got a lot in common with games like BF4 and COD in terms of mechanics, but features like suppression, its hardcore damage model, and its stripped down HUD make it play out very differently. There's no single player campaign in Insurgency, but there's a diverse mix of maps and game types in either online PvP or co-op modes. From time to time, NWI also releases free DLC for the game too, which is a refreshing change from the overpriced Day 1 DLC that seems to be becoming the staple of AAA games these days. In general, Insurgency is a pretty simple game, but it's the little things that set it apart from other shooters. Most importantly, Insurgency is an infantry-based game without any vehicles, but unlike games like COD, the maps and teams are a lot bigger. Most of the maps in Insurgency aren't anywhere near the size of the average BF4 map, but they are big enough to happily snipe and they can easily support 32 players. Most of the game modes have BF4 equivalents too, but the spawn system is based around waves, and this means that you need to play a bit slower because you don't have that consistent flow of guys hitting the objectives. Now, in terms of weapons, there are a lot less weapons in Insurgency than there is in BF4, but nearly all of them are locked to one of the two playable factions. The security team has access to newer weapons like the M16, M4 and the M249, whereas the insurgents have access to older style guns like the AKM, FN, FAL and the RPK. All of the guns in Insurgency kill in 1 or 2 shots, and the suppression mechanic is much stronger than in BF4 too. This means that running across an open area is a lot riskier than it is in BF4, and this makes smoke grenades and flanking routes a lot more important in this game. Weapon recoil is also very high in Insurgency, and spread is a big issue too, which makes the crouch and prone position much more important. ADS speed is also a bit slower than in most shooters as well, and in general the higher magnification scopes take up more space on screen and are a lot slower to acquire targets with. I think my favourite thing about the weapons in Insurgency though is that despite the hardcore damage model, all of the guns feel unique. The security weapons feel very different from the insurgent weapons, way more than the subtle differences between weapons in COD or BF4, that's for sure. Another thing that I should probably mention about Insurgency is the point-based loadout system, which is similar to Call of Duty but definitely a lot different than the loadout system in BF4. You have a set number of supply points to spend on weapons attachments and other gear, which means that you have to carefully choose what gear you'll actually need for the game type. When I first started playing this game, I was just spending all of my points on weapons and attachments, but you start to realise pretty quickly that grenades and armour are really important in this game too. Even though there aren't as many weapons in Insurgency, the loadout system does feel pretty complicated, and there are a lot of different options to choose from to suit pretty much any playstyle. Now, like any game, Insurgency isn't without its faults, and although I'd say as a whole this game is great, there's still a few cons worth mentioning. This game is built on the old Source engine, so I think the biggest thing fans of COD or BF4 are going to notice when they get into this game is that the movement is nowhere near as smooth. There's no vault mechanic in Insurgency, so trying to jump even small objects can be frustrating, and it also seems like the game isn't forgiving when it comes to negotiating doorways and windows. Once you realise what you can and can't jump though, and once you realise you need to go through the dead centre of doorways, it's not such a big problem, but it's definitely annoying for the first few times it happens. Another thing that I think fans of AAA games will notice is the quality of the graphics, which are pretty basic when you compare them to most big budget shooters. Insurgency is an indie game running on an old engine, so you can't expect the polish of a game like Destiny, but fortunately the gameplay more than makes up for it. The audio in-game is also pretty basic, but you can get Steam Workshop mods that improve the quality of the sound. The 3D VoIP system is a nice touch though, allowing you to talk to your team and your enemies within range, similar to the VoIP in games like DayZ. All in all, I think Insurgency is a great game, and even over BF4 it's becoming the game I'm going back to on PC the most. It's really not that expensive on Steam, and at the time of me making this video, it's actually 70% off, so if you own a PC or Mac, do yourself a favour and pick it up. It really doesn't need a great PC to run either. In fact, it ran well enough on my editing computer, which is a Mac with an i7, but only has onboard Intel HD graphics. Like I said, it's running on the Source engine, so if you can run games like Half-Life 2 or Portal, then it's really only another step up to Insurgency, so at 70% off you might as well just give it a go. But anyway guys, let me know what you think of Insurgency in the comment section below, and let me know if you'd like to see more videos on this game. As always, if you like what you see, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield 4 videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description below. But until next time, see you later, and have a good one.